Hi, this is Eddie Hearn and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal Khan for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. I'm here in London for the official announcement of the Lawrence Okolie versus Mikhail Cieslak press conference, which takes place on February 27th at the O2 Arena in London. And featuring on that card is going to be British prospect Campbell Hatton. Campbell, first of all, good morning. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to another busy year. More of the same, kicking on from last year.
Yeah, let's just talk a bit about the breakout year for you last year. 5 fights, 5 wins. Kind of, you could say you got thrown into a deep end, featuring on a massive card like the White versus Povetkin 2 undercard in Gibraltar. How would you sum up your first year as a pro boxer?
To be honest, I think it went perfectly. Like learning wise, there was things I could have done better, and there was things that were massively positive that I took away from it. But for learning experience, I've been on some great shows where it will stand me in good stead going forward, and there's loads of things that we've took away that I can work on. But like we say, as a whole team, like you said, we have been thrown in at the deep end, but we've learned from each fight. We took something different away from it, and I think this year, just if it goes the same as last year, I'll be buzzing.
Given being the fact that you're the son of legendary British boxer Ricky Hatton, do you think it kind of like added that bit of extra pressure onto you going into your first year as a pro boxer?
Yeah, because there were massive eyes from the very start. Like you said, my debuts in Gibraltar on a pay-per-view card, and there is that bit of pressure. But I think dealing with it now, early on in my career, it'll help me massively down the line, because say in a couple of years where you get to title level and it's 50-50 fights, it might be a first time for my opponent where it'll be nothing new to me, so that'll be a thing in my favour, where they'll be taking everything in and be nervous. It'll be like water off a duck's back.
What did you learn about, not only as yourself as a person but as a fighter, during that first year as a pro boxer?
Yeah, like the main thing is, the one area I think I'm lacking compared to other fighters is the experience, and by staying active, me and Matt have been seeing massive improvements in the gym, and I think in my last fight we got it into practice on the night more than I have in other fights, where we was in Bilbao, a bit less pressure, and I was relaxing a lot more and a lot more patient. And one thing I have learned is I'm a much better fighter when I'm being patient, so I think that's the way forward now. I've shown myself the way to do it over there, and I'm going to look to make that a regular pattern.
Many people obviously have opinions about your debut year. I remember Chris Eubank Jr. saying that maybe he's been pushed into the deep end too much. He should fight at small hall shows just to sort of gain that experience in the early years of his career. How would you respond to that, Campbell?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of truth in it. I wouldn't say solely just on the small shows, because like I said before, I think being on these big platforms early on is going to massively help me. But like we saw when my last fight was a smaller show, there was no pressure, and I saw the best of myself. So I think the mixture of the two would be spot on. I think I'm gaining massive experience being on these big cards, and I think it's great for my career on a platform side of things. But getting, like, as well as that, of the small hall shows where I'm practicing things and relaxing and learning my craft, so I think a combination's ideal.
And as I just mentioned, you will appear on the Lawrence Okolie undercard on February the 27th at the O2 Arena in London. What is the main target, the main ambition for you going into 2022, because it's going to be a big year for yourself?
Just the same activities. Last year, like I say, I got 5 fights in 9 months last year, so I think, as I said before, the main thing I need is experience at the minute, and there's only one way to get that, so this year just more of the same.
I just want to get your thoughts on the current situation up in the heavyweight division. We've seen Tyson Fury been going back and forth on his social media. Rumours are that Anthony Joshua at the start of the week was going to accept some sort of step-aside deal. Dillian Whyte, being Dillian Whyte, is saying he's ready to fight whenever against whoever. Alexander Usyk is remaining calm in the background. You know, you grew up at a time where your old man was involved in big fights against the likes of the Pacquiaos and the Castillos, you know, and the Floyd Mayweathers. But what's your current thoughts on this dilemma we've got in the heavyweight situation?
Yeah, it is a confusing one, isn't it? Because there's all these top fights that everyone wants to see, and I think either outcome's probably not a bad one. Everyone's desperate to see all these top boys fight each other, and I think from AJ's point of view, I'm sure he's confident that he could win a rematch with Usyk, and because I think it was quite obvious the tactics weren't the right ones in the first fight, and I'm sure he's going to want to rectify that and settle a score, put it right. So but it's not an easy decision to make, but I'm sure they'll make the right one, and I reckon they'll all, down the line, eventually we'll get to see all these lads in there with each other.
Some people will say that Anthony Joshua's sort of ducking a rematch with Alexander Usyk, but then some people say on the other side, from a business point of view, to just accept £15 million just to sit at home and wait patiently for your fight is not a bad thing to do, really. What's your thoughts on the whole step aside saga we've got going on right now?
If it makes sense, I think he will want to settle the score and put it right where and avenge his loss. But like I say, if he was to take money a step aside, it's not to say he can't avenge his loss still. It just means he's not doing it straight away. But there'll be a lot of factors involved in it that do make it a difficult decision, because obviously it sounds to a lot of people just getting 15 million to sit there and do nothing and just let two people fight, like you snap their hand off. But as a fighter in that situation where he feels like he can win a rematch, he's probably going to it's a hard one, isn't it? He's probably going to want to avenge it on one hand, but on the other hand it might be too good an offer to pass up.
Just want to get a prediction from you for the big fight in a few weeks' time in Manchester between Amir Khan and Kell Brook. Campbell, how do you see that one panning out?
In the primes, I always used to say Kell. I used to always think that Khan would be winning the rounds and like with his speed, but Kell's timing, he'd be able to get one in, and then I think the power would be too much. So going into this one, I think they're not both, no disrespect, but not the fighters they once were, and I'm probably going to go with Khan. Again, I think his speed will be winning him the rounds, and it just depends whether Kell's still got that timing to get that shot in, which time will tell. But I think it's proper 50-50, but I'm probably edging towards Khan. He's still got that speed and sharpness.
Alright, top man. Well, Campbell, listen, thank you very much for your time, mate. Best of luck for February the 27th, and we look forward to catching up with you during fight week.
That's one, mate. Cheers.